I want all of you all to think about a child in your life. And now I want you to think about that child. Imagine that child being able to live their passions through their whole life and be celebrated for who they are as individuals. And as you saw up there, that's what we do at Muse every day. Think if you had been able to live your passions as a little child. Muse was birthed from a personal experience. Jim and I have 5 children, and we watched our 2 older children go through different schooling systems. And as you know, when children come out, they're natural scientists. They want to know why something's happening, and they want to know what it is and how it works. And they've got sparkles in their eyes, and they just have a huge, huge light. And then typically, they go to school. And that light gets squashed out of them, little by little by little. And I watched it. Jim and I watched it with our 2 older children. And that's going to make me cry, too. But it's really fascinating because our oldest child, in 8th grade, we pulled him out of school and we homeschooled him. And the person that we hired to teach him science created a curriculum for him on his feet outside. And all of a sudden, he went from D's and F's to A+. And I thought, there was this light bulb that went off, and I thought, wow, that's fascinating. If I had known his learning style when he was little bitty, I probably would have put him in a different school. I would have saved a lot of tears. And it was about that time that we ended up finding a high school for him. And it was an amazing high school. And he was about 6 feet tall when he started. And he had that kind of typical, you know, his shoulders were a little down because he still didn't feel really great about himself. And about a month into it, all of a sudden, he just blossomed. He's now 6'5" and gorgeous and out in the world doing amazing things. But that essence that had been squashed came out again because the school that we found for him really celebrated who Jasper is. And he just blossomed. The same thing happened with our young girl, who's now 20. But in middle school, she was at an all-girls school, and part of her uniform was a hoodie. Well, she lived under that hoodie for about 2 years, seriously. Under the hoodie, she didn't want to show her face or her hair or anything. And we took her out of that situation, and we put her into the high school where Jasper was. And again, within a month, that hoodie came off, and the essence of Josa came back. Her different colored hair every other week, and her art, and everything just flourished. And it was about that time that the oldest of our 3 little ones was about ready to go to kindergarten, and I started looking around at schools, and I had been commuting. I was willing to get in the car and drive an hour and a half if I needed to, if that's where the school was that was best for the children. And I really wanted to find a school that celebrated children for who they were, that taught them about the environment and sustainability, that fed them the best food possible to stimulate their little minds and get the best production value out of them. I couldn't find anything. I could find some schools that did a little bit of each one of them, but I couldn't find anything, and I started the conversation with Jim in November of '05. He was trying to decide whether to do this little film called Avatar or go, exploring the deep sea, and he was kind of weighing those two, and I said, I think we should homeschool Claire. He said, honey, we can't homeschool Claire because I think it's too isolating, and she already isolates a lot anyway, which is a note that I'll tell you about in a little bit. And through those conversations, we really decided, well, we could just get a couple of families together, and it was about that time that I called my baby sister. And I pleaded with her. I mean, it really was. I was absolutely pleading, and it was I think it was at least 10 times that I would call her up and say, listen, I want to create this school. I had been to Kansas where she had created Child Spot, which was an early childhood program, and it was just extraordinary. I knew she knew how to do it. She's got the educational background. I'm a passionate mommy with 5 kids and had this idea of what a school should be, but I knew she could pull it off. And together, well, is history, the Persister Sisters, and we did it. We absolutely did it. But through that experience, and Jeff talked about how we went through the one-day training in our first year. I was heavy with child, and it was our first year, and it was amazing. It was an amazing experience being exposed to it, and through that, through the next couple of years, and Jeff would come out and visit, and what was happening, and we didn't have strong leadership at the school. We didn't have a lot of buy-in. So I was really learning and using it a lot at home, and Jeff helped me tremendously with being able to motivate my children. And we found out that, that Claire was an imaginer, and what's really fascinating is I've had so many people say to me that, well, how do you know? How do you really know that they come out and they're just that way when they're born? I said, well, I can tell you a story. It's a personal story, and Claire, when she was an infant, I was already a mommy. I already knew how to do this whole mommy thing, and I had had Jasper, who was a little harmonizer, and he loved being cuddled and hugged and loved and held and fed, and so I had Claire, and I picked her up, and I held her, and I loved her, and I hugged her, and she cried all the time. And I didn't know what to do. There were times where I was just, I thought I knew how to be a mom. And I was about 3 weeks, she was about 3 weeks old. I was very sleep deprived. And she was really fussy. And I bounced her, and I walked up and down the stairs, and I got on the exercise ball, and I bounced her some more, and she was still crying, and I couldn't figure out why, and I patted her back, and I did all the things that Rebecca told me, and I hugged her, and I loved her.
Walked her down the hall.
Yeah. And my arms were just so tired, and I was so exhausted, and I thought, okay, I won't lose too many mommy points if I just put her down for a few minutes. And I put her down in the bassinet, and she was quiet. She just wanted to be left alone. And she's still that way. And the first 3-4 years of Muse, our teachers were all harmonizers. And because we didn't have the buy-in, they still wanted to have the circles, and they wanted everybody to be together and hold hands and sing songs. And she would come home from school and tell me how much she hated school. And I was just, it would kill me, because I thought, oh my gosh, I've put all this effort into creating this school, and she hates it. And then we moved here. And Jeff upped the ante. We had new leadership. Jamie Estel, he was here with us for 1.5 years. Absolutely slam dunk, loved PCM, got the whole staff involved in it. And Claire's teacher would walk by her in the morning and say, go read for 20 minutes and then come join the group. And that child has blossomed like you can't believe. I was also told that my little boy had a learning disability back when we were in Topanga, and that I should go have him tested. Now, if I had been a brand new mom, I probably would have freaked out and gone and had him tested. The bottom line is, he just needed to get up and move around. He's just our little funster. So he's thriving now. He's reading, he's writing, he's creating, he's building, he's doing everything that he wants to do. And I'm going to tell this, which has nothing to do with the school, but it does have to do with how much PCM has also infiltrated my life. Jeff gave me some tips one time on how to motivate my husband. Well, he said, it's easy. You just have to tell him what to do. And I said, listen, someone who is directing people all the time, who's in this leadership role, I am not going to tell him what to do. I'll ask him politely and say, please. He says, it's not going to work. And sure enough, I was, playing around with these different things. And the first time I decided to tell him what to do, I was in the kitchen, and it took me about 30 minutes to get up the gumption to say it. And I just said to him, I said, tell me when we can talk about the kitchen. And he said, well, he took his glasses off. He said, well, we can do it right now. And I just thought, oh my gosh. So I tell him what to do all the time now. And it's great. In December, middle of December, when we knew that Jeff was going to come in and be our head of school. So he had already taken everything to, so many other levels with PCM and being able, and Rebecca's going to talk more about how we bring PCM into school specifically. But what's happened since December, since Jeff came in, everything has gone absolutely vertical. And I think the biggest thing that I've noticed is just how efficient our world has come. And we do move fast. We get ideas, we grab them, and we go with them. And it's really hard sometimes for people to keep up with us. But I think the biggest thing is the efficiency. Our emails are short and sweet. There's none of these long, sort of elaborate, emails explaining and over-explaining and defining and that sort of thing. And people really understand now how to meet their psychological needs. They know their coworkers when their coworkers are in distress, and they're able to help them out of that distress. And it has I just got goosebumps. But it's a whole new world here at Muse. And I want to thank Taby for that. I want to thank Jefferson Starship for that. I want to thank Nate for that, because he's been so instrumental in coming in and helping us, and Rob. So thank you, because Muse is Muse. It helps us take our mission of celebrating children for who they are as individuals to a whole nother level. And I don't know anybody else in the world that's doing it in that way. And now I'm going to pass the mic to my sister over here, my baby sister, sister.
I am going to sit on the stool because I broke my foot and I don't like to stand on it. So how many of you heard Suzy say that she begged me? How many of you heard her say she begged me like 10 to 15 times? Maybe 20 times? Because I kind of, I add all that up to all the other times that she's begged me throughout our life.
I'm good at it.
She's really good at it.
I'm persistent.
But I do want to say that, all laughs aside, I have taken on this new habit of waking up in the morning and writing out the things that I'm grateful for. And one of the things I am most grateful for is this opportunity to be at this school, to be with my sister. And so I wanted to take a serious moment and thank you for that, because I wouldn't be here. And gosh, I think it's going to be an emotional morning. I wouldn't be here, and so I do joke and I do make fun of her for begging me. But honestly, it's the most amazing thing in the world, and I do write every day about how grateful I am for this opportunity. The other very, very cool thing is that I work with my best friend Susan. And she's also my sister and my business partner and all of those things. And I don't know if you guys know, but Jeff and I are married. And he's my other best friend. So here I am working in this job with my two best friends. And so for that, I'm very, very grateful. I also want to say that when we began doing PCM for Muse, never in our wildest dreams did we ever imagine that we would have an international summit. And I owe all of that to Jeff and the Next Element team for thinking this up. And Jeff and Evelina have been working on this for the past, I don't know, every single day since Jeff started, and even before that. And here we are. And we always wanted to have a conference. We always wanted to do something. And now here we are. So thank you. All right, so Muse. You know, Suzy and I didn't just do it by ourselves. It wasn't just us. When we started Muse, we had 2 teachers. And one of the teachers had worked for me in Kansas. And then she moved here and was working here. And then we asked her to help us start Muse. So we started with 4 people, including Suzy and I. And over the years, we have developed this village. And for those of you that work at Muse, work with Muse, will you please raise your hand? Everybody, everybody, everybody. Susan, Susan, Susan. Nate, Nate, Nate. Jamie, Jamie, Jamie. Aaron, Aaron, Aaron. You? Where's Michelle? Michelle, Michelle, Michelle? Oh, there you are. So everyone, all of you guys, you are our village. And Suzy and I have surrounded ourselves with these amazing tribal members who have helped us grow this baby Muse. And for that, we're very, very grateful. We could never have done this by ourselves. We have this vision and these crazy ideas and these big ideas, and we are going vertical very fast. That's because Suzy's an Explorer's promoter, so we're like going really fast. And so for all of you, I'm very grateful for coming into our world. All right, so I have another question. How many of you have children? How many of you have grandchildren? How many of you were a child? Very good, very good. So again, those of you that are parents? Parents? All right, so how many of you want your child to be seen? How many of you want your child to be heard? How many of you want your child to be loved, accepted, respected, valued? All right, so Suzy kind of asked this question earlier, but I'm going to ask it a different way. How many of you have had a person in your life that saw you, respected you, loved you, accepted you, valued you, respected you? That is what we're trying to do at Muse. That is what we are working on at Muse. We are working on people who are going to see the children that go here. But not only the children, the teachers, the people that work here. We want to see the people that we work with. I have a little personal story, and I think Jeff stepped out. There you are. Okay. So Jeff and I married in 2005. And Suzy was there, of course, as were my 4 other brothers and sisters. And she got up. She had her glass of champagne, as usual. And I'm going to stand for a second. Sorry, just had to kind of get that in there. And she made a toast to Jeff and I. And she said to Jeff, she said, "Thank you for accepting Rebecca for exactly who she is." And that's the type of person who my sister is. And she is the person who started this school. And her vision comes out. And to me, that's just a story that represents what we want for all of the children at Muse. And I'm her baby sister, so she wanted someone to accept me. And I just wanted to bring that up. But anyway, I digress. So in 2007, I believe it was, maybe it was 2006, Jeff flew to Hot Springs. And he was trained by Tavy. And I don't know what else happened down there. I think there are some secrets. I think there are some dirty, dirty secrets that happened down there. Something about a dog and a screening room, and I'm not real sure. And Jeff came back, and he was trying to tell me, "I think I know what you are. I think I know what your profile is," and all these things. And anyway, so then he talked about how he trained us at Muse. And we did the Key to Me. We did one day. And Suzy and I were sold. We thought, this is going to be awesome. And there was some pushback. You know, I think our teachers were like, I don't know about this. I don't know about this. And so we kept talking about, yeah, we really want to do it. Yeah, we really want to do it. And there were some people who were on board. There were some people who were like, okay, we'll do it. But then when we moved to this campus, as Suzy mentioned earlier, there was this very cool adhesive that PCM landed on. And we started using PCM every single day. And I believe it was in about 2010, 2011, maybe it was 10. And Rob Wirt and I were talking, and I said, all I want is for us to be a PCM school. I put those words out there, and we are now. We're a PCM school. So as you guys know, Jeff came on board in January, and I think he just stepped out again, but I'm going to ask him to come back in. And we have actually implemented PCM into our everyday work at Muse with the children. And we ask the teachers to work with the children in the way that they see best. And we have individual learning plans where we identify children's needs and what they need each day. And that, to us, has been an absolute monumental thing. And it's something that we always wanted. All right, so if you guys take a look behind me, about a year and a half ago, with PCM inspiration, we developed a website. And I think, how many of you guys have seen our website yet? Ooh. Okay. So what we did is, it scrolls through the 6 different personality types. And I think this is not a good spot for me. So as you guys see the pictures of the children, what do you see? What are some things that you see? What's this one? Harmonizer. And she is always on the go. So what we've done with our website is we have been able to attract children from all different dimensions, and parents as well. For a long time there, we were attracting harmonizers, persisters, a lot of thinkers. Now we are opening up our arms to rebels, promoters, and imaginers. And it's been an amazing experience for us. And the website has taken us to a whole different level with PCM. We actually worked with a writer in Seattle, and we had her go through PCM so she would learn the wording so that she could help us write. And she has. So if you go through and you read, we tried to be very diverse in our wording so that we would attract everybody to Muse.